Greetings, programs. Welcome to ArcNeo Reviews, where I'm doing a bit of a marathon video tonight. Or today for you guys, but night for me. So, I'm actually going to be taking a look at all of the Real Gear robots that I have. Now, for those who don't know, Real Gear robots was a small subgenre from the movie toys. I want to say Revenge of the Fallen, but I can't quite remember. Could have been between the first and second movie even. But what it was is a return to what we had in G1 with characters like Soundwave, where all of your figures turned into, like, you know, little roleplay toys. So this guy here turns into a phone. And as you can see, this joint on him is a little loose, but it's an old figure. What do you expect? Now, thing with these guys is most of them had kind of dumb, weird names. Like, there's one that's like Booster X23 or something like that. Like, genuinely, part of their names is just numbers. So, I'm going to go through and review these things. Down in the description, I'll have a list of which one has what name. But truth be told, I've never been able to remember them, except for the guys that just straight up have their name written on them. So, we're going to be starting with this guy, who, as you can see, turns into old, you know, early 2000s flip cell phone. Even has a camera on the back there. 747, this is the Autobot cell phone. Funny enough, very, very accurate to how these old phones used to look on the inside, even. If I had been into Transformers back then, that's probably a wallpaper I would have had. Full numpad, everything. Buttons don't press in any way. On some figures they do, but they don't on this one. Volume control, power. You know, it's a pretty decent looking little representation of a cell phone. So, transforming this guy, super easy. Spin this part around, fold it back down, open up right here to reveal his mouth and nose. The camera just becomes his eye. Unfold these parts, bring them down, form his legs. Oh, I do have these backwards because he does actually have little fold-out feet here. So just kind of push in at the top. That'll get to poke out enough to fold it out. And then his hands are actually kind of holding on to the side of his neck. So you have to kind of bring them up a little bit to get them to unhook. Shift the shoulder up and just kind of get everything oriented. Same thing over here. Bring this up, or just pull it out if you're feeling risky. Shift the shoulder up. The shoulder will actually sort of soft lock into place, so it'll stay put. And there you've got camera phone in robot mode. And you know what? This is it's a pretty decent little robot mode, you know? I do like, you know, almost the cape look he's got with just the entire untransformed top of the cell phone up there. I know we already looked at the face, but we'll look at it again. It's a fairly standard but decent robot face. A little bit of wear and love on him from a previous owner. I got all of these guys secondhand. I didn't get any of them back when they were actually, you know, new and out. Posability-wise, if you bring the cell phone, you know, bring the cape up, basically, he can rotate his head. Shoulders are a ball joint, so you get rotation, outward movement. Then there is actually a ball joint at the elbow as well, so you get rotation there. Little bit over 90 degrees. As well as you get up and down at the little pincer hand. Legs can go out, way out. They can kick forward, way too high. Again, if you get this out of the way, you can go back way too far. Basically, due to how he transforms, all of his joints move in absolute insane extremes. So really good range of motion on him, actually. And he does have a pretty good weight distribution to where he's not hard to keep standing. So, there's the Autobot Cellphone. As well as here is the Decepticon Cellphone. Most of these guys came in an Autobot and Decepticon version. So, Decepticon one just has, 335, a little bit different sticker on the outside, exact same mold, say for different sticker on the inside here. Worth noting, yes, these guys did actually use stickers at a time where you didn't see a lot of stickers, which is weird. Also, not gonna lie, I kind of want to find a way to get a picture similar to that for my actual cell phone background. That is awesome. But, everything about him is the same. He even transforms exactly the same, has the exact same face sculpt. So it's literally the same thing, round two. He's got silver feet instead of, matching feet like the Autobot one had. And his arm pops off very easily. There we go. So, yeah, there you have your black and red Decepticon version of the Cellphone guy. And I gotta say, I do definitely like the Decepticon coloring more. Just because, if you haven't noticed, red and black is kind of the thing on this channel. So, there's that. And then we will actually go to the other time that I have both the Autobot and Decepticon version. This was the MP3 player. Yeah, remember when you used to have something that wasn't your phone that you played MP3s on? So, yep, very simple design, 4 buttons that don't do anything, a little center button. You can imagine that was a screen. This one definitely relies on a bit more imagination. A little bit of paint scuffing on him from over the years, but still pretty cool. It's convincing. I did have a MP3 player similar to this. And then, actually, it also has an earpiece. And if you want, if you are so inclined to have small enough ears, this little rubber piece will actually go over your ear. And, hold on, because apparently they had I don't know why you would have a boom on your MP3 player headset back then, but it comes with the headset. That's kind of cool. So, transforming this guy, super easy. Go ahead. Fold this piece down, that'll form the tail. Split the top, which can fight you a little bit, especially on this one for some reason. It really fights me, but get those parts unpegged from each other. Fold out the wings. Come underneath. Flip out the feet, if you can get a hold of them. First foot's always the hardest, too. There we go. So, rotate the foot out. Same thing on the other side. Gotta bring them down, get them positioned a bit. And then you'll actually take the earpiece, fold this little tab down, and then that will tab in right there on the back of this little guy. And there you've got your MP3 player turned into a bird. This thing is really, really cool. I really love this one. So, a lot of transparent plastic on him, so definitely has a cool look. I do wish he had something, to kind of fake the screen a little bit better. Little Autobot symbol up there. Here you can see quite a bit of paint wearing again, because this whole tail piece is just clear blue plastic. Same with these big side panels. But really, really cool idea, in my opinion. Posability-wise, the back of the leg is a ball joint, so you get some rotation, and, you know, forward and back in it. And then there is another joint right there for the knee. Folds all the way up. Only folds out about that far. And then you've got little birdie foot ankle. This will pop off pretty easily, so I'm just going to leave it off. The wings can collapse, and they've got, you know, little segments on the inside to, you know, keep things filled out. And you can also, you know, rotate them back and forth and bring them up if you want. So, quite a bit of posability in this guy. He's not the best at standing, so you probably will want to just prop him up on his little, prop him on his tail or something, or just have him be, like, really, really low to the ground, so he's basically just laying down. But, you know, again, really cool, really different. I dig it. There's a reason that I like these guys so much. And really quick, Decepticon version, again in that awesome black and red. This one, Booster X10. That really is his name. Like, the X10 is part of it. I'm just gonna say right now, this one should have been Laserbeak. I know, you know, yeah, we already had Laserbeak in the movies, but at the time these came out, we didn't. They totally could have made this Laserbeak, and they didn't, and that blows. Also, for some reason, his little wing flaps won't, like, automatically deploy the way they do on the, Autobot version. And call that just a Decepticon being a Decepticon. He doesn't want to cooperate for the flesh bag. Okay, I'm not going to mess with the feet. The feet are black. You know what this looks like. Same posability, same everything, just, you know, clear orange instead of clear blue. And a very, very Laserbeak looking color scheme here. So, yeah, really, really cool. Okay, and so, like I said, that was the last of the times where you're going to be seeing both versions. So from here on, it's just one-offs. Here we have Zoom Out, who is a tiny digital camcorder with a screen cap from, I believe, Transformers Cybertron. It was either Cybertron or Energon that they used for a lot of these pictures, which made it funny that, you know, you get a movie toy with cartoon graphics on it. But, you know, you can adjust the screen like you would on a real, you know, little camcorder of the time. Got a bunch of buttons down there. I'm assuming those are microphone pickups or something. There's where you'd look in. There's the lens. You can actually see through it. You know, there's nothing in there to see, but you can look through if you want. Pretty cool. Transformation, really, really straightforward on this guy. Come down here, fold out this panel, fold it out farther. That'll get you the clearance to open up the legs. I believe the legs go this way. We'll see if I remember right. His arms are just hanging out in there. You don't even have to really mess with them. Coming up here, fold out the head. Just kind of accordion this piece up on his chest. Take the viewfinder, fold it up. It is on a double hinge here. I like to bring it up like on the hinge so it's sitting a little higher on his back. And then you actually fold out little wings for this guy. So there you have Zoom Out in his robot mode. And I love the head on this guy. The head is fantastic. It's very Blitzwing looking head. It's kind of a weird choice, but really cool. Posability wise, he can look up and down, as well as the head is on a ball joint, so you get some wiggle, some up and down from that as well. Full rotation. You can, position the wings, close them, whatever you want to do with those. Full rotation for the shoulder right there. Outward movement, and then a ball joint for the elbow. Nothing for the little claw hand. Then you can kick forward all the way. You can kick back all the way. He's got a thigh rotation and a really, really deep knee bend. So that is Zoom Out. And next we have the Autobot game controller. Like I said, I only know the names if it's on them. List is in the description. But, yeah, not a lot to say here, other than it's a pretty well molded little game controller. Not too obvious that it even transforms. Yeah, it's got panel lines, but, there's not weird bits hanging off of it. And, you can actually move the joysticks. They are on little ball joints, so they can actually wiggle around and do stuff. And this guy's got kind of a weird alt mode. I'm not sure if I'm doing it 100% right, but we'll find out. So, you fold up this little panel behind the head. You should probably actually say what I'm doing here. And then you're actually going to take this little slider right here, bring that up, and as you do, it pulls up his head and folds his, I guess his pecs into place. So, come over here, bring out his hands. He doesn't have the best clearance for transforming, so he can be a little bit fiddly. But, bring out his arms. And then just come down here and straighten out the feet as best you can. And yes, he will have quite a bit of a gorilla stance. I'm pretty sure that's intentional, since we already had some that turned into a bird. This one turns into sort of a little gorilla guy. Really, really neat mold, actually. I do like just the vacant, just visor and nothing else for the face. Autobot placement is a little weird. But yeah, small, but really, really cool, actually. Probably one of the better ones. I know I'm kind of, just going through all these guys, but this one's really cool. So, posability-wise, the head is, again, on a ball joint. You get up and down, rotation, a little bit of wiggle. It's hard for me to get in there because this panel doesn't give you the most room when you have adult hands. Ball joint at the shoulder, you get rotation, you get some outward movement. It is a little bit hindered. Ball joint at the elbow, so you get, in and out there, and another rotation. He does actually have, in a ball joint for the abs, so he's got torso rotation and an ab crunch. Legs can kick forward that far, back that far. They can barely go out, though he does have a knee you can bend. It's a little bit hard to get in there to do it, but he's got a knee. As well as you've got that little extra hinge there at the ankle, so you get rotation, as well as the ball joint. So, yeah, quite a bit of posability on this little guy, and yeah, pretty unique robot mode, actually. So, I definitely recommend getting this one in particular if you get a chance. All of them are cool, but this guy does really stand out as probably my favorite. But anyway, that's him. And then we will do the Decepticon game machine. So, this thing's more or less modeled after a Game Boy Micro. The buttons do press on the side here, as well as, you can mush in the D-pad, which yeah, let's face it, that's what a lot of D-pads are like. They're just mushy. So, it's a very accurate little game system. I think that's Jetfire on the picture there, but I'm really not sure. And then they just put that traditional random stuff on it to make it look like a game. But really, really solid, just little simple brick. Feels like a little game system would. Transforming this guy is the easiest of all of them, because he basically auto-transforms. So all you're going to want to do is just come in here and try to get his hands folded out so they're out of the way. And you're just going to unhook the legs. And you're just going to rotate them down till they peg together. And then you'll just straighten everything out. As you do that, obviously, his arms, shoulders rotate up. The head slides out. And there you get your little game machine as a robot. And this is the one I've had the longest. This one I actually got back in college, so I've had this one a really long time. The Automorph has held up. I have to give it that. I've seen a lot of Automorph, gears and stuff just disintegrate over time. This guy's held up with very regular transformations. Very kind of weird, flat and wide head sculpt, as well as the entire back panel of the head is just clear, which does make for some really good light piping if you get a light source behind him, but yeah, it still looks weird. Posability-wise, there is no rotation at the shoulders, but you do get in and out. There's a ball joint right there for rotation. Or, ball joint there, pardon me, that's just a hinge. And then a hinge for the hand. He has the most useless little hands. Ball joint at the hip, so you can kick forward, you can kick back, go out. Rotation just under that. And he does actually have a knee. So, very simple, probably the simplest of all of them. But, still kind of cool. And again, this is the one I've had for the longest time, so he's a little bit special to me. I do have to give him props for having actual, Decepticon purple. So, that's the game machine. And next we have Longview, which I believe is one of the few that did not have a repaint. I need to double check that, but a couple of these didn't get repaints, and I think this was one of them. This is a pair of very, very fancy binoculars. You can actually look through, there's no actual magnification or anything, but you can see through them at least if you want. As well as right here is a little panel you can flip up like they were, I can't think of the word, digital, like camera binoculars or something. And yes, the sticker is upside down, so apparently you're supposed to flip these things upside down to use that. So I want to say that's Cybertron Crumple Zone there. I'm not sure, but I do remember that's one of the few figures that I am actually still interested in getting if I ever find it. But transforming this guy is... We'll see if I can even remember it. I'm not gonna lie, this is the one that I don't remember very well. But, fold those out. Fold this piece up and around, form the head. Oh, okay, yep. Thankfully, these guys are simple. Even when you don't remember, they take care of themselves. Fold out the little hands. Rotate down the legs. And double hinge down the foot. And I pulled the leg completely off there. Alright. And there you have Longview in robot mode. And he's an oddly stout guy for just being binoculars. you know, him being Binoculars, you'd kind of, you know, associate him with being, you know, scouting or something. But no, he's probably the most hinch of them all besides the game controller, which you really wouldn't expect to be the hinch one. But again, you know, really cool. I like the mold. I do like the way that the lenses just become his shoulders. He does have a little bit of head rotation and a little bit of wiggle. It is a ball joint once again. Very hard to get in there and mess with it, especially with this panel right back there. Full rotation at the shoulders, outward movement, then just a straight elbow bend. He doesn't really have any rotation outward, and you can, you know, fold the hand back up if you need to. Kicks forward, kicks back, kicks out, has a knee, and you can bend the toes. Oh, and he does have a rotation right there as well. You'd think I'd remember that one. That's the pin that I popped while I was transforming him. But, again, you know, there's not a lot to say on all these guys. Here's what they are. I think they're cool. Moving on. Alright, second to last one now, so you don't have to deal with me rambling and not having a lot of descriptions. Here's the Decepticon watch. I believe there were two versions of the watch. Both of them were Decepticons. Again, I'll have to double check that. Also, as far as I can tell, with all their times and stuff on them, there was no, like, clever jokes to it. You know, a lot of times you'll see them slip in a 1984 or something, you know, some year that was important to the whole series. These appeared just to be random numbers from everything I've been able to find out. But it is just, you know, simple little watch. You could, you know, put it on if you had small enough arms, as well as the wristband actually pegs together in two different places, so you can even make it a little bigger if you needed to. For my purposes, I'm just gonna straighten it out here, which will usually cause it to start falling apart and trying to transform on its own already. And right here you kind of get the little buttons you would use to set the watch or whatever. I don't think it's too hard to figure out that's the robot head, but still pretty good little alt mode. Transforming this guy, really simple. Once again, it's going to separate these parts right here. As you can see, there's a little pin, pegs in there. Rotate the legs down. That will bring out the head on its own. Then you will just fold these pieces forward and rotate this back. He has massive feet. And then, let's see if I can get his arm, or his hand to fold out here. Okay, and then bring the arm down. I knew there was a joint to get the arm down somehow, but I could not think of where it was. And finally, rotate the watch face. And there you've got your little Decepticon watch. And this is the other one that I super recommend, actually. I really like how he transforms. I like the robot mode. It has stupidly huge feet, so this thing is, you know, very easy to do ridiculous poses with if you take a little bit of time. You get to do crap like that. So, another big recommend. Head, once again, ball joint, rotation, wiggle, little up and down. Very weird head on this one, I'm not gonna lie. Well light piped visor there, though. Arms can go out, and there's a ball joint right there, so you can bring it out at that hinge if you want instead. There is a rotation, 90 degrees bend at the elbow. You can bend the wrist up if you want. Ball joint at the hip, forward, back, out, rotation, knee, foot, heel. I'm sorry if I'm going through this a little quick. I've had a lot of these. I had a lot of these little guys to do. I didn't think that any of them were, complicated or enough to do their own video. So you're getting a rapid fire, marathon thing. Anyway, yeah, that's the watch. On to the next and final figure. And that is going to be Spy Shot. And of all the alt modes, this one's probably my favorite. It doesn't quite hold together the best, as you can see by this one panel wanting to go off to the side. But what they did here is really neat. You've got your little different buttons and controls for your camera. You've got your screen showing another screenshot from the cartoon. You can actually look through the little viewfinder there, as well as the button actually clicks. That's just one of those little details. They didn't have to do it, but they did. As well as they still put, clear plastic in front of some molded detail for the lens. They didn't need to, but they did. And I'm glad they did, because it makes this guy really cool. Again, all of these things are really cool. So, transforming this guy is a little weird, just because he's oddly asymmetrical. So, you're going to come over here, fold out the arm. His head's hanging out just right there, of all places. Come in here. Get that arm started out. Separate the legs. Get them folded out. Let's see. Yeah, this leg has a foot to fold out as well. The other one does not. Then you're going to rotate the legs down. I've also seen it done where you split the legs like that. There are stopping points for them. I personally prefer them, still together, but I do believe this is the proper and official way to do it. Bring the arm over. That'll lock into place there. Bring this arm just kind of over a bit so you can even get to the head. And just kind of mess with things until everything, pops into place and stops moving on its own. And there you've got Spy Shot in robot mode. And this one probably fascinates me the most. Just because, you saw how asymmetric that whole, he was relative to his alt mode. And yet when you're done, you still get a very symmetrical robot mode. Other than, he's got the flash on his one shoulder and not the other. So, really, really good engineering on this guy, actually. Probably the best engineered, if you ask me. Wonderful little head sculpt. The eyes really pop just because of the way that they're molded. They're not just round, they're actually spherical, or at least half spherical. He is clear in the back, but that little extra shape to the eyes really makes them pop. Posability wise, the shoulders can go in and out. This one's a little hampered, but you got in and out. There is a ball joint hiding in there as well for rotation. Then he's got 90-degree bend at the elbow. Another ball joint there for rotation. Can wiggle the weird little claw hand around. Open it up if you want. Ball joint at the hips, so do the splits. Kick forward. Kick back. There's a second joint there if you need it for whatever reason. Rotation right there, just above the knee. And he has excellent knee bend and you can bend this toe and only this toe down if you want to. So, yeah, that's been, the Real Gear robots, and these things are just really cool. They're unique. They're something that, we basically got... We got things like this during G1 with, Perceptor and Soundwave. And then that was kind of it. It's been a long time since we've had, like, little role-play robots like this. I know that there's, a Reflector in the Siege stuff. But it's not quite the same as these guys. These ones are to scale, more or less. They sell their alt modes. They've got just completely frivolous little, sections to them that, they don't do anything for the robot mode. They're just there to help sell, being a camera or being a watch. That's just cool, in my opinion. So, you tend to find these guys fairly easily. They're worth picking up. I know this has been a bit of a weird little rambly, ranty video, but yeah, these things are really cool. I recommend all of them. Yes, I know I picked out 2 that I recommended above the rest, but they're all good, they're all fun, and they're all worth adding to your collection if you get the chance. So, thank you for bearing with me. Hopefully I'll make something a little more normal next time, but I wanted to show these guys some love. I really enjoy them. And on that note, I will shut up, have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time.